Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So for this week's drawing I am going to be working on this merman. We are going to be working specifically with how to create accessories that will kind of match your character. So my character right now is a magician's merman, and I'm going to walk you through the steps of creating accessories for him. So to start this drawing off, I am going to work on a bit of a thumbnail sketch to kind of get an idea of how I want this character to look like in the final drawing. So I did a kind of character concept sketch up above on the main screen, and now I'm working on kind of the concept. So I knew I wanted him to have magic charged, and I kind of want him to have a staff and an amulet around his neck, and once I had everything else planned out, I decided to go through and build on my character. So building some of the basic designs that I wanted, I knew that this would help me come up with the individual pieces, which I will sketch out later. So I decided I wanted armor plating for him, and I wanted him to have more of kind of a fish-like ear. And so I'm putting those modifications directly onto the character concept. Just trying to get a basic idea of what I want. I know his hair isn't quite flowy as if he's underwater very much, but I will fix that in the final drawing. I also decided I kind of wanted scales on him and to kind of tie in the fact he's part fish, and I kind of like that design where it's kind of tied in together. Now I'm going to write down all the parts that I want. So I decided I wanted a staff and a necklace and a shoulder guards. Once I had everything listed out, I went straight to sketching. So I knew that I wanted the shoulder guards to be abalone shells. So I liked the shape, and I thought they'd look really, really cool as a shoulder guard. So I went through and I found reference photos of abalone shells and sketched out an abalone shell, just the way that they actually appear in nature, so I could kind of get an idea of how I needed to set it on the character. I also went through and decided that what I wanted his necklace to look like. So I knew for sure that part of this character's background, his backstory, is that he and his love exchanged necklaces. So he's wearing her necklace and she's wearing his. So I kind of wanted his to have a bit more of a feminine touch to it. And so I went through and tried to find some very delicate shells, and I was going to put a pearl into it. And this actually proved fairly difficult, trying to make it look natural, but I did finally decide on what I wanted. An important tip when you are designing components for your artwork is to remember what your theme is and then base everything around that theme. This is kind of a merman theme, so a lot of what I'm using is sea themed. Now they have real life components in medieval ages and stuff like that, and I brought those in to make it feel more realistic. I did something similar on my Christmas special, not this last time, but the year before, where I went through and I sketched out everything sweet in order to make her dress, the character's dress. I will leave a link to that video in the cards so you can see what I'm talking about. One of the most interesting parts about designing your own character is utilizing traditional equipment in your pictures and then changing it so that it looks original. So I was drawing out here a trident because I knew I wanted him to have a staff, and I was on a wall between a wizard's staff and a trident. So I sketched out a traditional trident that the sorcerer could use, and then I sketched out a wizard's staff and then this cross between the two. In the end, it utilized a kind of coral reef feel, which felt really organic and on theme, and so I ended up using that as my design process. Do not be afraid to kind of play with original ideas and see what you can get, because in the end you can actually really, really like what you end up with. Since I'm still in the process of moving, I was actually working on this project on the floor, and in just a second you will see my dog move across the screen. It's because he suddenly realized I was on the floor and decided that I needed to play with them. When working on design concepts, don't be afraid to draw just a whole bunch of different designs. You may not use them all, but sometimes they will give you ideas for other items. And now I am going through and figuring out what colors I want to use for this drawing. What I am working on right now is basically the design elements. So I took out all the design elements that I created and created a very simplified merman form. And now I'm going through and trying out my colors. So the colors I chose all complemented each other very nicely, at least I thought so. And so now I'm just going through and making sure that they look good together. So I am figuring out what I want my design to look like. This will really help in the end drawing because then you won't have to figure out as you're going along or worry about maybe even having contrasting colors too close to one another. Luckily with this method, I was able to find out how I wanted to draw most of these components, and it makes it look really nice and cohesive. I want to thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up, comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye!